association with IEEE students, as part of its new initiative SPAAM, Student Professional Awareness Activity Month, is proudly organizing our fourth webinar on the topic, How IEEE Helped in My Career, presented by Mr. Aravindhan Anbazhagan. Before getting started, I would like to give few instructions to the audience. It is requested to everyone not to interrupt the speaker. If anyone has any queries or questions related to the topic, please use the chat, and those using mobile phones, click at the participants list on the top right corner of your control panel and choose the host to send the message. Seldom do we find individuals who take their life's ambition to give back to the society that help nurture them in the nascent stage. Our today's speaker, Mr. Aravindhan Anbazhagan, is one such professional, a TEDx speaker, MG Larry K. Wilson Award winner 2016, who is consistently trying to help young professionals. He recently founded a virtual education startup, EduRise Global, to bring his vision come alive. So without further ado, let me welcome the speaker of the evening, Mr. Aravindhan, to start the webinar. Sir, please.
Thank you, Adrija, for the nice introduction, and good evening to all of you. Thanks to the MACE team for organizing this webinar. I think when I was actually looking at the topic that was very fascinating to me, very interesting to me, it was SPAAM, and then they were like they had a lot of very interesting webinars which are very useful for people, and I was also looking through the other speakers, so it's quite interesting. It's a wonderful initiative. Congratulations to all the volunteers, and thanks to all the participants who joined today. And so before I get on to the session, right? So couple of things, like one, I've been volunteering with IEEE for around 7 years, right? And usually I don't actually share much about my journey because one, it is long, and second, it's a lot of things that's personal about. The second, so those are the couple of things that I used to not to share IEEE journey because it's also something that I have to look through and prepare upon. But today's topic provided me an opportunity to do that. I think my thanks to Merwin, Eldo, and all the volunteers for providing me this topic and asking me to speak on this. So yeah, I'm really excited, and let's make use of the next 40 to 45 minutes understanding about my journey. So I'm also looking this my own journey as a case study, right? I think I'm sure most of you would be students, and you might be thinking like what IEEE can offer to me at your point, right? And I also had a very similar trivial question, and I actually found a bit of answers on that. I'm still also figuring out, like every time I renew my membership, I'm still figuring out. But in my experience, I think there's a lot of things that has to be looked upon. So that's all about the presentation. I think I'll get started with the presentation. But before that, let me put forth a question to all of you. On a scale of 1 to 5, okay, I am confident about knowing what IEEE can offer to my career, okay? So 1 means I'm not at all aware. I'm very new to IEEE. I'm very new to volunteering. 3 is I'm moderately okay. I'm volunteering. I'm having some responsibilities. I'm doing those roles. 5 is I have a very clear vision for me when it comes to my professional life, when it comes to what IEEE can offer for me. Okay, this is a question for all of you. If all of you could just open the chat box and then type in what number you are currently in, I think it'll also help me to tell the narrative in that way, right? When it's in the way that's helpful for you. You guys can use the chat box and then enter whatever number that's coming to your mind. I'm going to repeat the question again. On a scale of 1 to 5, how much I know, like how IEEE is contributing to my career, how much confident I am, right? 1 means I'm not at all confident. I'm not sure what IEEE is offering. And then you can think through. 3 means I have some responsibilities. And 5 means I'm really confident. I know my professional career. I know what IEEE can offer. Okay. Very interesting. You see a good 3s and 4s, pretty good. Also see some 1s. That's amazing. I mean, whatever number you are in, that's not a problem, right? Ultimately, it's something that you have to improve 1 step further, and that's what I'm going to focus on this session. Cool. Can I also get the presenter access? Mm, Jitin? Yeah, I got the presenter access. Perfect. Yeah. Cool, wonderful. I think good to hear from everyone in terms of this is just a reflection of how you see your own idea of how IEEE is contributing to it, right? I mean, it's not going to judge based on these things, but I also got a perspective. So I actually saw a lot of threes. I mean, a good amount of fours as well, and then there's also twos and threes, twos and ones. So that's are there, and yeah, I think it's good that you're not in a fight because you're always exploring, right? So that's the whole idea of it. Okay, let me get started with the presentation. I'm sure for the initial set of the presentation will really help the people in 1 and 2 to actually figure out what is something that they can do. And also, I mean, that's a lot of scope for the people in 3 and 4 to definitely look out to multiple things, especially in a YP, because those are things that, those are things that people don't really share, right? I think when you're a student, the news spread really faster. You get to know someone is winning a Merwin Scholarship. You know, getting to know someone who's doing something with the student activity through social network and other things. But professionals, they get a lot of things, but they don't really share. So because they are busy with their professional life and they're also busy with multiple things, right? So that's the idea. And in this session, I think let's uncover all of that, okay? And again, I'm going to say this session is not I mean, you don't need to think like, oh, yeah, he has done so much, but just think it as a case study, right? Before I get started, I think I'll introduce me in a bit of ways that it's, I mean, that's relevant to you. So first thing, I'm actually from a village, right? And I'm actually from one of the very I mean farming based villages in it's not even a tier 3 city. It's like I mean one level below of tier 3 city, where if I have to get a notebook or if I have to get a pen, I have to really go around like 2 kilometers from my village so that I can go and get there. So I did my primary education there, and then I moved to Chennai. Thankfully my mom got a job here, and then I came here and then I studied engineering. So I think this story typically begins in my second year of engineering, right? Again, to say like this, my college is not really big. I got a very decent cutoff, not something that's so high, not in one of the branded colleges or top rated colleges, but in a very like it's not something. I mean, I personally feel like every college and every place has something to offer, and in my college, I think when I started, I definitely thought like there's no opportunities for me. Okay, I thought like, okay, how am I going to actually make a successful career out of my engineering? So that was the question that was running on my mind. And then IEEE came into picture. We'll definitely see the story sometime later. Yeah. So the fundamental thought that I actually put into preparing this presentation, or the whole idea, is when you mean to say how it's helping you in a career, when you mean to say a successful career, it's definitely not one thing, right? When I mean, even I have won some awards, and I felt like the next day I felt like I'm none. Okay, I'm not even a person. So the idea is that it's like you have to contribute some small efforts on a continuous basis. So it's all summing up and then adding it together, right? It's not about winning one award. It's not about winning. I mean, going into one role, either in your professional career or in IEEE. It's always about the small efforts that you do, and then which all of them combine together, and then saying something. Again, another example that I would definitely give you is we all actually go think about a lot about roles, right? Let's say I am a programmer or I am a web developer, okay? But the ultimate point is that what you're doing in your work day to day. Okay, so what do? I wake up and then I create some websites, some really useful websites for people. Then in a month, it is bucketed together and then called as a web developer, right? So whatever that you do, it's always like what you do on a day-to-day basis and then combine all of them together. And that's the idea that I also taken for this presentation. It actually uncovers some different small elements that I did at different places, at different roles, and also in different types of different times of my life. And then I try to add all of them together. Yeah. So what I mean by successful career, or what I mean by I mean, some were saying like, okay, I'm at a decent place in my career. I'm just looking at these three things, right? I'm sure, I mean, some of you might resonate with me, and some of you might have even more points to add. but these are just some basic underlying facts that I wanted to add here. First is the right platform. You have to get a right platform to do things, right? The reason being, the right platforms always provide you an opportunity, and they are always there, right? So when you want to create something, you need a platform to do, execute, and then learn. Okay, that's the first thing. The second is, when you find the right platform, when you start doing those things, you acquire the relevant skills, right? And let it be a content writing, let it be a graphic design, let it be a web development. You acquire skills, and then slowly your mastery increases, right? So whatever that you're doing, it's important that you acquire some skills and then move one step forward with that. Which again, from what I said in the previous thing, you see something that you do on a day-to-day basis, right? The third is, this is another interesting thing, but most often, like, people always look out for what is the recognition that you have. Okay, so you have done something, and what is the, I'm not a big fan of recognition as such, but the way that it really helps, it helps to add credibility to the work that you do, right? And also it helps you to set a bar in terms of a vision of excellence to achieve something. The fundamental idea is not to say, like, the people who are not getting recognized are not people who didn't do anything, right? Usually the most achieved people or the most accomplished people never actually show their recognitions, or never actually believe in the outcomes in itself. But the idea is, when you get some recognition, it inspires the people around you, and secondly, it actually helps you to move forward with some acceleration, because you feel you did something, you feel recognized, and then you move forward. And these are the three things that I'm going to set this today. I'm going to share about. I'm going to share on the major topics that I'm going to share on all my different phases. Life starting from 2013. So that's when I was saying I was in my college second year, right? So these are the 5 things, and I'm going to tell you how IEEE specifically helped me in these different parts, right? The first is being a student, generally being a student, being an engineering student. The second one, as a computer science student. So IEEE, one thing that I found really helpful is it provides you a specialization, right? If you are a student from IEEE, if you are someone who's from an ECE, you have multiple different chapters in IEEE, which I'll definitely go through next. And then the third is, when I became a professional, how IEEE was helpful to me. And then when I was an educator, when I was actually teaching students of 4th standard, 5th standard students, so how IEEE helped me. And finally, when I had actually, I won't call myself an entrepreneur because I'm still learning. So when I have a dream of becoming an entrepreneur, how is IEEE helping me, right? So these are different parts, and I'm going to specifically share about different, what is my roadmap of how all these things happen to me, so that one, to actually give you an idea of how things start, right? You can definitely find out how it slowly started growing. And the second thing is also find that how you can also reach the vision of excellence. It's not that, you might be in different place of your journey. If you are in a 1, you might have just started with your IEEE journey. If you are in a 3 or 4, you might be in the mid place. But it's always important that you find, like, what's the vision of excellence and what you're taking back from this community. So that's the whole idea of it. And let me get started with the first thing, right? So this was my typical roadmap of, when I was a student. I think I told you that I started IEEE in 2013, right? I'll definitely run you through. You can definitely look at these things. Many of these things you might know. And if you don't know, like, some of the acronyms that which you're seeing, like AASC, which is All India Student Congress, you can just type on the chat box. I'll definitely be happy to help out. I'm not going to say each and everything, but I'm going to say broader of what I actually saw in every year, right? So 2013, I started volunteering as a student volunteer in my student life, not big roles or anything. But one thing that I kept, close to myself is trying out anything. Whatever opportunities come, I'll try, right? Now my perceptions have totally changed. I definitely encourage members to choose something and then do. But by the time in 2013, when I started, I actually wanted to try out everything. So I applied for all the roles that I have. Some I get through, some I don't get through. So that's how I get started. I consistently attended the All India Student Congress and the All India Computer Studies Student Congress. Like, these are not events which are funded by the entity for me to go and attend, right? I actually chose to go and attend these events out of my own interest, so that I actually get value. I actually build my network. So that's how it started. In 2014, I got a couple of volunteering roles in my student branch, and then I also got an opportunity to volunteer for the India SAT. And then I won the Merwin Scholarship. So then the next year, so this was the first year when I got a travel grant to attend a student congress, which I had a keen interest on attending events representing Madras section. And secondly, I also started volunteering with IEEE consistently, right? I started providing time for it. So, I mean, I got an opportunity to represent. So the first interview is like, when I was a student, I used to be a part of the newsletter team as well. I think, I'm sure many of you would have known the Compute newsletter team. So Compute newsletter team was started by Maitri Vagela, and I am part of the initial committee, right? So when they actually rolled out the first, I think the first newsletter, I was actually featured on the interview. So, the interesting thing is like IEEE doesn't ask you what is your age. IEEE doesn't ask you what is your experience level, right? It provides recognition. It recognition to all the deserving people, irrespective of their age, irrespective of what they're doing, irrespective of which college they're from, irrespective of like your geographic location, right? That's why it's a global entity. And in 2016, I ended up winning the Latika Wilson Award. I also got through the Teach for India Fellowship, which I'll share on my professional journey. So, and I also represented the Art and Congress in Bangalore. So this is some major roadmaps, but there are many smaller events. I think during my student life, I've volunteered around 90 plus events at my student branch. The fundamental thing is this, right? You have a student branch with you and you can do anything around it, okay? Because it's your student branch and you always have the freedom to do anything. So that's something that I found so helpful, because whatever idea that I got, I think one of the initiatives, I think in 2013 I've added as White Talks, right? It's a for the students, by the students, of the students initiative. We didn't had any funds for our student branch. So we invited students from our colleges to speak in front of our college, our students. So in a way, it actually really motivated people to learn technology and also encourage them to do public speaking. So that's the whole idea of it. So yeah, so I think this being a student and having a student branch is really, really powerful. And that's one thing that you can leverage if you are a student. Yeah. The second thing is, as a CS graduate, I mean, I'm not going to talk much about like what I did with IEEE specifically, but I also wanted to talk a bit about computer society, right? So because I was a computer science student, computer society was very relevant to me. I know there are a number of volunteers with computer society from other departments too. I mean, computer study is always open for everyone. But for me, it was much more relevant because the kind of newsletters that I received, the kind of events that they do was so much connecting to my own domain, and I can actually go and get a lot of on-duty permission from my professors, right? Because those are very relevant to what I study on a day-to-day. So yeah, in 2013, I actually, I got to know a lot of emerging technologies. For the first time, I got to know things like Internet of Things. For the first time, I got to know multiple things which are done for the first ever time. I haven't actually read them on anywhere on textbooks, okay? So these are things that I read only on the computer.org website, and I also get started with volunteering for computer study. In 2014, I actually developed an interest for programming, and then we participated in IEEE team along with my team. I think Vinod Sharma was another person, and then there was another person too. So we were actually able to make into the top 100 teams in India. So by the time I was really motivated into coding, and then we also published a national conference paper because of our connections and because of our familiarity with IEEE Explore, which is the paper, which is the Adobe of, which is the abode of all the technical resources in the world, right? So using IEEE Explore, we naturally got interested in technical writing, and that's how we published our national paper, national conference paper. And another thing was this Microsoft Student Associate program. The most interesting thing about IEEE is when you get started, when you have a good network, you naturally get to know a lot of interesting updates and what is happening around, especially across India and around the world. The reason being, I think by that time we didn't had Instagram, or we didn't had like all the major things, right? I think we had only Facebook. So whenever I open Facebook, I always have some call for volunteers open, some opportunity always open. So I ended up applying for Google Student Ambassador Program, Microsoft Student Associate Program, like all whatever Student Ambassador Program that was there. And I always have some connections who have actually gone through the program successfully. So I can actually reach out to them. Now these connections came to me only because of IEEE, because I attended those national events. So Microsoft Student Associates Program was something that I actually initiated for the first time in my college, and it was a wonderful learning experience working with them. In 2015, I was much interested and much more, started working with the open source community. We attended a lot of hackathons. and I also hosted my first website, which is a question and answer portal for engineering students. So this is something that I tried with an anonymous identity. I don't want to show who I am because they won't take my answer seriously. But the very interesting thing about it, the website is called CSE Forever, right? CSEForever.in. So what happened was I actually just did this as an experiment, and where before every cycle test, I'll always upload the question papers and the answers. I mean the model question papers and the answers. So what happened was my website was down after 6 months. I didn't actually pay the dues and stuff like that. But when I actually went to the computer lab after that specific time, I think when I actually typed in for CS something, the CSEForward.in was appearing on the browser. So that's when I felt like, okay, people have actually started visiting the website, and they are also searching for those resources. But due to lack of time, I couldn't do that by that time. So in 2016, when I was finishing the college, I was pretty much sure that I wanted to teach for India Fellowship because I want to contribute to the community. And second, I also want to know about teaching. But the interesting thing was my college, they had always have a placement cell, right? And they always look out for people to know that you have to go out with a placement in your hand, right? So that's when you become again a successful person, and the college of course can actually leverage that to get a lot of new people on board, right? So I got placed in an MNC. The very interesting thing about this interview is when I actually went there, I didn't know there was much rounds. There's a aptitude round, there's a group discussion, there's a technical interview, and then there's a HR interview, right? So I was like, okay, I was so confused during that interviews. I actually went to one of the interviews, and then they were asking me a question like, tell me about yourself, okay? Now because I actually, when I was actually thinking about that specific question, I started telling them about my own volunteering journey, my own interesting things that I'm learning. And then there were some sub questions on each and everything. So I actually ended up answering those questions, not actually answering any technical questions, right? And then the 15 minutes gone through, and then the person actually, he'd actually told me you can send the next person out. So what happened was when the next person was going in, he was actually asking me, okay, Arvind, tell me what is that they were asking in the interview. I told like it's just a story. Just go there. Just tell your story. They will all, they will all actually find it interesting, and they won't ask you any questions as such. So when the second person entered there, and the second minute they actually gave a paper to him and asked him to write a code, right? That's when I realized it's a technical interview. I haven't known that it's a technical interview, and I was actually just speaking to him, like sharing about my journey. But the interesting thing is, it's a technical interview, and you're supposed to write code. You're supposed to answer those questions technically. So that's how I ended up crossing that round without actually, getting engaged in technical. I was strong in technical too, but that was an interesting experience. Now that's a very important point, right? You will have a story. You would have definitely had some interesting story when you are finishing up your engineering if you are part of some community. Like not only in IEEE, if you are part of some community, you would have done something that you really like. You would have done something that the people will really need. You will always have some friends. You will always have some group initiatives that you are taking always, right? So you will definitely have a story that's something that's built for you. So that's the most, powerful learning that I had when I was actually finishing up my computer science. And I think during my final year, I was able to write blogs on Ruby on Rails. I started doing projects on Ruby on Rails. Well, all this was going good, but my natural interest actually moved a lot towards teaching and actually giving back to the community, because I really want to understand what is something that's happening in the grassroots of education in India, right? What are some things that happening in an under-deserving school? What are those opportunities? What are those people doing, right? We will always complain saying that, okay, so they're not doing something that, that's something that's expected out of them. But how come people are actually trying their best, but what's the real problem? So those are the questions that were running on my mind, and that's how I ended up choosing the Teach for India Fellowship, not going in the conventional way of an MNC, which I think is one of the big decisions. Really proud. It also made me, really feel gratitude to the people, because they also allowed me to do, my college allowed me to take up the decision, my family allowed me to take up the decision. My friends, they didn't actually push me to do the conventional things. They wanted me to do something interesting, and IEEE will definitely play a major role. I had a mentor in IEEE who actually told me, do something that your heart says, right? Don't worry about the outcomes. I think those advices, those motivations really made me to take up that, because that was a very big decision for me when I'm actually looking at as a graduate just going outside, right? So these are some things that that how IEEE Computer Society and IEEE volunteering helped me in my computer science, and then some major lessons that I learned. That's something that's going to be helpful for you if you are a student. The first is build connections, send attend a lot of events, try to network with people. I'm sure there is only limited scope with visual that we are having as of now, but as soon as things get resumed, or even now there are a lot of webinars happening, you can definitely connect with them, connect with different people, connect with speakers, try to understand what they're doing. The second is try to contribute. Don't actually worry much about your role. I think the other interesting story is I actually ended up winning the Larry K. Wilson Award. I was not a SSR. I was not a student branch chair. I was not even a chapter chair, right? I only focused on what I can contribute and what are my strengths, not on the role. That's how, and even IEEE looks out for that. So if you're writing any award application, if you're writing anything that helps you to grow in your IEEE career as well, or in your personal career as well, it's always important that you find ways to contribute, irrespective of like what position you are in, like whom you are shouldn't decide like what you're doing, right? But you want to do interesting things, you can definitely do that. The third thing is again being patient. If you don't win something, just wait. If you don't actually get into any of the opportunities, again wait. Have patience and still contribute. Okay, so over time you will definitely achieve it. I think the trick is always about playing long, right? So if you it's very similar to Test cricket. I was saying to someone, so the whole idea is this. So if you are actually involved in something, and if you are playing it a longer time, you will definitely get way ahead of it. So those are some of the lessons that I wanted to share as a student, as someone who started engaging with IEEE and who got to know like very basic things, right? Some recognitions, some proud moments that I wanted to share again. So these are very I wouldn't say like these are the milestone moments, but these are the moments that helped me to get a recognition, to help me to move to the next additional step, right? Whatever that I'm going to share as a YP, I'm sure if these things wouldn't have happened, I would have definitely done them, but it would have taken a much more effort. But these recognitions helped me to like move faster and also move in a motivated way. So during my IEEE induction program, I asked the question to my senior. So they were telling me about all this Larry K. Wilson, Richard E. Merwin, all these things. I told them, okay, so you're telling me IEEE is a global organization. There is a big Asia Pacific region which has 3,500 student branches. And you're saying that out of those 3,500 student branches spreading across 57 sections, in India where there are 11 sections, you're telling me that in a Madras section, in a student branch like me, in which the college name is not popular, you're telling me that I will win all these things. So this was the question I posed him in 2013, and he told me like, I'm not sure if you can do all these things, but you can do something. So that's what he told me, and then I actually got my answers in the upcoming years. So and then I won the Marvin Scholarship in 2014. I won the Larry K. Wilson Award, which is provided to one outstanding volunteer across the Asia Pacific region. The previous winners are really inspiring people. So before me, it was Subodha Charles from Sri Lanka. Arjun Pillai, I think he's also speaking in one of the webinars, right? So he actually won it from, Kerala. So these are very inspiring people. And the moment when I actually got it, I also felt like I should actually contribute a lot more in the upcoming days. So till this point, it was a lot of learning for me. Okay, so I am actually learning new things. I am actually, I'm actually getting more from IEEE. So that's what I would say as a student life. But this interesting question that I actually had moving forward as a professional was, I have to manage my professional life. I have to be, I'm a teacher to 30 students, right? I have to manage that. And I also have to do IEEE volunteering, where it is a lot about contribution. And to me, that's the most challenging thing when you don't have time, when you don't have, like when you have limited time for you, right? You can actually use it for your leisure. You could actually watch movies. You could do multiple things. But the interesting thing is what you are prioritizing during those challenging times. That's why I always have a, I always believe that YP volunteers are really people with like superhero hats, right? Because they are doing so many things, and then they are also contributing for IEEE in the way that they do. So the next part is sharing a bit about my professional journey, like when I actually graduated. So what happened after 2016? Okay, So I graduated and then with Teach Fund a fellowship. I was actually much more into the fellowship. I actually didn't find time because the fellowship is very rigorous. You start your day at 9 as a teacher, and you're going to teach all the day till 4 o'clock, and then what you do is you also have some sessions with Teach Fund. It's a leadership development program. You have some programs that are happening every day, right? Literally. So it was a lot of effort. But again, I got an opportunity to volunteer for the Computer Society India SAC team for 2017 and 18, and I consistently attended the All India Computer Society events and much more events. So every year I got to go to different colleges. I actually got an opportunity to represent Madras section at the Sections Congress, which is which is an opportunity provided to one young professional, right? So I'm sure these are experiences that really helped me to actually continue contributing for IEEE because I've learned so much from this community, so I wanted to give back. In 2019, I actually initiated the Society's YP community in itself because they didn't had any YP group before that. Think about this, right? So I actually met with the president of Procom, and then I told them what are the benefits of YP, and then they actually initiated that. So IEEE for me also as a professional provides a lot of opportunity to initiate things, which I think is the most powerful thing. If you are working for some MNC or if you're working somewhere, right, you'll always be working on the execution part of it. But initiating is something that you can definitely do with IEEE and especially as a YP community. And yeah, in 2020, I'm currently leading the IEEE India Inspire India, which is a new initiative. I think Govindaraman is a part of that community again. Govindaraman, Sai Teja, like some people are here. Sorry if I missed out your name. You are part of the community. And I'm also trying to start up my own venture, something that I'm trying out at this point. So over the past 4-5 months of lockdown, right, I've actually spoken at 30 plus webinars. I find it more interesting because you don't need to travel, you don't need to take a day off from your work, but still you can actually connect with people. So I find it pretty interesting. And yeah, so this is my roadmap as a professional, but as a educator, so it was very interesting, right? In 2017, as I was teaching in a classroom, which is a less privileged, we were starting to do this fundraising campaign. Okay, so one of the most important things about this fundraising campaign is we were actually targeting a goal of 2 lakh rupees, 2 lakh Indian rupees, and everything should come from crowdfunding, like everybody contributing 100 rupees, 1000 rupees, like in that way. So when I started this, there was a huge support from my IEEE community, which I never expected, right? They had usually IEEE volunteers are really good at social media, and they really helped me out. And in fact, the fundraising campaign got around 750 plus social media shares. And then whenever there's someone who's visiting across the world to Chennai for any IEEE event, I always bring them to my classroom. Remember this, a classroom in a very small school, getting an opportunity to get an international delegate coming and speaking to them in a class. Okay, so I got people from Malaysia, I got people from like Dubai, I got people from US, like everyone coming and speaking in the different accents to 4th standard, 5th standard students. So those are very interesting experiences for them. In 2018, we initiated a TISP track at CSIS 2018, which happened at Bodh Gaya. I took 4 of my students. I was leading the student activities committee then, and we wanted to pilot out this. So I took 4 of my students all the way to Bodh Gaya, which is like around 2,000 miles away. Again, those are the first flight for the students. And like the way that I look at it is, if I don't have IEEE, which is providing opportunities for me, I couldn't actually provide those opportunities to other people. Okay, now only because I have this opportunity, I can also take my people along. So that's the thing. And I also ended up winning the Pre-University Educator Award, which is a global recognition. And I'll have the pictures, I'll show it to you. In 2019, I was invited for a TEDx talk. Again, not something that happened on its own, right? Now, because people actually saw me contributing so much for the community and through IEEE, so they actually invited me for a TEDx talk. Now, again, building off to this, before speaking at a TEDx talk, I had an experience of speaking at around 35 different colleges. Now, that opportunity comes only from IEEE. So, it's always important that you know what your strengths are and try to leverage in volunteering, especially as a YP. As a student, I would encourage you to try out as many things as possible. But as a YP, you have to be really focused, so that because you have very limited time, right? And then I actually proposed a technical project in a HTC, which is because I was actually moved much away from technology industry, right? I'm into teaching, I'm as an educator, I'm actually into management, like those things. But still, I actually proposed a technical project which won the runners-up in HTC. Now, this opportunity again comes from IEEE. And then very interestingly, I got an opportunity to visit Teach for America's So I told you I was a part of Teach for India, right? I was working as a staff then. Then I ended. When I visited Atlanta for a YP summit, I actually went to Teach for America's office. So which was a great experience for me. I also went to the one of the schools and tried to understand what people in America are doing when it comes to school education. So I was really astonished, and in fact, those are very interesting learnings that I brought back to India, and then I started exploring. And yeah, in 2020, like very specific to education, we were doing. I was a part of the Region 10. I am a part of the Region 10 Education Activities Committee. So we have organized more than 5+ webinars, and we are also doing a very exclusive track in the Art and Student Congress that's coming up. And then yeah, I'm also trying a startup, which I would definitely say my volunteering contributions with the IEEE has only provided me that confidence so that I can actually try something full time, and then I also learn from it, right? So that's the whole idea. Um, some lessons as a YP which I wanted to share. Focus on impact. Try to see how many people you are impacting, how much depth you are impacting them. Second, if you need help, please seek out. There are so many people who will also be helping you out. The third is persevere. Whenever you lose, whenever you find it hard to do, like try doing it one step at a time. Try moving it one little bit steps, right? So I have so much of examples for that, but because of time, I'm actually running through. Yeah. This was the EAB award that I won. Again, and I'm always proud to have my mentors as part of my award pictures, right? So I think this is Ashwin. He traveled all the way along with me to Vancouver. We actually received the award from the IEEE Education Activities Board president, and it was a lovely experience going there and meeting the entire IEEE community. So what we will always know, like IEEE is a global organization, there are so many things, but only when you attend such global events you definitely understand how much diversity it has. So there's so many people from everywhere around the world. So that's one of the best experiences. The second is as a young professional, I was attending the YP summit. So this was with both the IEEE presidents then, right? And they actually taught me a definition of professional itself. So what they're so down to earth. They are always happy to help out people, happy to answer our questions, like whatever small or very small it may be, right? They'll definitely try to answer those questions. I think those are very interesting thing that I found, especially IEEE at the top is they are actually they're super ready to be helpful. So if you are someone who really want to impact people, if you are really want to have to do new things, they'll definitely encourage you, and that's something that I'll always say to people, because IEEE is a platform that's actually run by volunteers, right? So everyone is a volunteer here, and the kind of bonding, the kind of enthusiasm is very contagious in IEEE. So that's the second thing. And third is my opportunity when I actually spoke in TEDx. You will actually find me in we call it Veti in Tamil, which is in Mundu in Mundu in Malayalam, right? So the thing is, I wanted to represent the Indian culture when I was actually speaking on a TEDx stage. So I ended up bearing, and I also spoke about the education system in India and how we can make it very contextual by that time. So again, this opportunity is the sum of the different opportunities that I got at different times, so that I actually went on to do that. Yeah. So so now I'm actually now I turned 26 yesterday, and I would definitely say this is one of my dreams that I wanted to come alive. I wanted to pilot out a virtual education startup, and we are actually focusing on these different aspects. We do workshops in regional languages. We are doing a couple of workshops in Tamil on the topics ethical hacking and Adobe Photoshop. If you know someone from Tamil Nadu who could benefit from this, please let them know. And we also try to do different things so that to reach out to all sort of people, starting from making YouTube videos to make quality learning education available for a lot of marginalized and people who can't afford, to actually doing virtual teacher training workshops, so that it really helps out teachers to make them teach very easily, right? To make good presentations, like all these things. And so this is what I'm doing at this point. Yeah. Okay. Some couple of transformative stories that I wanted to share with you. These are not these are not things that I share in very public, but I wanted to share these things because it can actually inspire you. The first thing is in 2015, when I was volunteering for the International Leadership Summit in WIE, So I got an opportunity to pick a very interesting person. I'm not going to name the person. I got an opportunity to pick the person as a logistics volunteer. So I have to my role is to go to the railway station, pick the person up, and then bring him back to the hotel. So this was my role, and I have been actually learning like how to handle delegates and all these stuff. Right? I'm sure Eldo is the person who's handling my part in this webinar. So this was a very interesting experience because I went there. I was very nervous because this person is very important. So I went in, but that person was so down to earth, right? And I actually thought of asking him some questions, but he ended up asking me like 10 to 12 questions, right? So this was in 2015 in Chennai. So this is something that happened. In 2019, when I was actually went to the YP Summit in Atlanta, the same person, the same volunteer actually traveled with me on flight. Like we were all returning back to I think there's some question coming up. I'll definitely answer that. So the thing is, like when the same person actually came back, in terms of actually along with me, and he in fact actually like shared a lot of his interesting stories during that journey, right? So which is very interesting experience because IEEE helps you to grow over time, right? That's the most interesting thing. The second is this is another very interesting story. Whenever I always remember this story whenever there's someone who's telling you that you are not sufficient or you're not like you are not good enough, right? Because there'll always be people telling you that. So this was in 2014 when I was attending one of the national events. By the time I was not speaking fluently in English. Okay, so I went there and then I went to the conference and I was not able to speak English properly. And then I was in the national India SAC team. Okay, by the time, so there was one of the other volunteers, like who actually told me like, hey, he's not even speaking good English. What will you do with the national? What will he do in the national committee? So I felt like okay, I felt like okay, I think this person is saying true things about me, which is going to hurt me. But at the same time, I felt like okay, that should be true, right? I think if he's saying like I'm not able to speak good English, which is something that I have definitely improved, and I actually took it positively. So again, when I actually went abroad, like sometime in the US, I was actually traveling with a Uber driver. I think he was asking me how many times you have been to US. So I told him like this is my first visit. And then he told me, oh, is this your first visit? Your English is so good. So I actually took it as a compliment from such a simple person because people whom you know will definitely say good things about you, right? But then he told me like you are, you speak good English, which I took it as a compliment, and which I'm also really thankful to the other person who actually helped me in the 2014 because he shared the feedback, but it was very straightforward. So that's the only thing. So always take up whatever criticisms that you have, whatever people like saying negative things about you, but in a positive way, so that you can definitely improve. Ultimately, it's about you improving and then you growing, right? So that's the whole idea of it. And yeah, so this is all I wanted to share. I actually, when I started my IEEE journey, I never know how it can actually really help me out in my actually career or in my actually anything, right? I ended up paying the $27, but I definitely realized sky is the limit. Whatever that I have done is not something that's an exemplar. This is something that's done by me, right? Of course, with the skills that you possess, with the interest that you possess, with the talents, unique talents that you possess, you can definitely grow much more heights. I think that's the whole story. The whole idea of this story is not to say like, okay, these are the things that you can do, but this is the sky is the limit. There's no limit. Whatever that you can do, you can definitely do it. And I wish you really all the best. And you can definitely reach me on my specific email ID. This is my IEEE email ID. You can definitely reach out to me, and you can also follow me on Instagram. I'm quite active on Instagram these days. I find it very interesting, especially during the lockdown. So you can definitely follow me. And these are things that I wanted to share. And I also have a very interesting request to people. Like I'm actually starting a YouTube channel, and I wanted to share. We are trying out different things. We are posting like tips on LinkedIn. We are actually starting to share some lessons on very basic lessons on local languages too. And then third is also on like we also do some interesting webinars in local languages. Of course, we didn't do anything in Malayalam, but we'll definitely doing in the upcoming days. So if you are someone, if one of my requests would be to, if you could follow the channel, it will also help us grow. It will also help us really, right? So thank you so much for patiently listening to me, and thank you so much, MACE team, for providing me this opportunity. First of all, right? I'm really humbled, and I'm really glad to look back on my own journey. So that I actually find it I actually got time to think through all these things after a long time. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sharing the YouTube link channel on over here. Yeah. Okay, so there's some questions coming up. I think this is from Rakshit. So training teaching from YouTube is not certified. How do you make sure that people who attend your class on YouTube? So like Rakshit, so the idea is we definitely understand YouTube is a one-way channel, right? So the idea is like we actually make those lessons just as a way for people to look at them and actually like learn from it, right? Because some people who might not have opportunity to get those good lessons in school or in the virtual classes, so that's the idea. But what we are trying to do for people who want certifications very specifically is that we try to do workshops. So these workshops are two-way. Like we actually get a very limited set of people on board with us, like some 5 to 10 people for every workshop, and then we get a trainer, and then we actually we actually intensively train them. We also based on their performance at the end of the day, we actually provide a certificate. So we're not providing so YouTube is just a platform for people to learn. But if someone is looking for a specific learning opportunity, we always do some workshops, because ultimately learning has to be done in two ways, like in a two-way communication. That's when I think I personally believe like you will learn, right? You don't actually learn only by seeing reading a blog, or by watching a YouTube video. So that's the thing. I hope I clarified. You can also go and visit the channel. You will try to find, those are very not teaching videos, but those are like simple lessons made easy, right? It's not only for students, also for teachers, because if teachers want to teach such things, they can definitely make use of our resources. They can definitely make use of our videos. So that's the idea. Yeah. Cool. Is there any questions? I'll be happy to handle. I think I've spoken for a long time. I think 50 minutes. So sorry, guys. Yeah. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And if there are any questions that you have, any top of my thoughts on IEEE, or of course, you would have known my entire journey. If you have any questions relevant on different topics, open source, whether it's open source, whether it is, like what to say, different things, right? When it's open source, or programming, or hackathons, or teaching, or social work, or social impact, like you could definitely ask me, and I'll be more than happy to answer. Yeah.
Sir, we have one more question by Govindaraman.
Yes.
He asked, what motivated you to start volunteering for IEEE?
Okay, so it's very simple, right? I told you in 2013 there was this story when I was actually asking them, okay, how can I do all these things? And then my senior told me a very simple thing: do something, okay? And that's something that I have as a mantra even till today, because the whole idea of every day is you have to do something. You don't need to think big, right? For example, winning a Larry K. Wilson Award or winning an EAB Award won't happen overnight. You have to do something every day, and then all of them will add it up. I think if you really ask me, like, my initial set of motivation was the 2 words which my senior told me: do something. And over time, I think there are different motivations, right? For example, when I actually become a YP, especially, I was really motivated by the community in itself, because simply look at this, right? For someone who didn't have an English fluency, for someone who didn't have who didn't have any big knowledge about career or any big knowledge about anything, IEEE has really helped me to grow, to go till that point, right? So I want to give back to the community, and for me, especially those last 3 years, especially as a YP, it was a lot about giving back, and I find so much of happiness doing that. Seeing some volunteer, some student volunteer, getting someone learning one new thing, right? And then feeling motivated to do things. So I find it so inspiring. I find it so interesting to do, and I always believe that like you have to learn so much so that you give back. So that's the whole idea of it. So yeah, those are different motivations are there at different places, but what initially motivated for me was those 2 simple words, which I'm going to share it with you: do something. Yeah.
We have a question from Melvin. How do you effectively handle the team when you're leading them?
Okay, so two things, right? So this depend on what outcomes are there you were expecting in the end. So especially the kind of approach that you follow in IEEE is very different, because you have the stakeholders that you're working with. You have a established you have a very established what to say, organizational units, right, which has to do individual work. So when, especially with IEEE, I'll share my perspective from IEEE, right? So what is important is, first of all, lay a clear vision for your team. Tell them, like, this is what we're doing. So it need not be a specific goal, but you can tell them these are broad things that you're working at. I think when I started volunteering for the Computer Society India SAC team in 2017, we didn't have much of established activities. But in 2018, if you look at it, CS had three major activities in India. So we had a CSIF, we had a CS Congress, we also had WIPs, right? And the reason being that we actually had a very dedicated vision, and all these events happened not on a tier 1 cities. So we wanted to take activities to tier 2 cities, and we wanted to make it start engaging more people. So that's the idea. So it's important that you lay out a very clear vision for your team, so that everyone in your team really understands. So that's the first thing. The second is it's always about people coming with your own interest in IEEE, right? You can't force anyone, definitely to be a part of the community, but you can definitely inspire people. So one of the things that I used to do in every team meeting, even till today, is I'll always ask them, how are you doing, right? We definitely allocate some 15 to 20 minutes of asking people how they are doing, what happened to them, what happened to them personally, how are they feeling in terms of their energy. So all these things. So I think those are very, very helpful, so that people do some self-reflection and then they do things. The third thing I would definitely say is being more open, being more transparent to people. It's really important that like whatever your personal wishes are, right? I definitely might want I definitely would have had some preferences in my personal life, but I think shouldn't affect when it comes to leading a team. Especially, it should be whatever that you're doing, whatever decisions that you're taking, especially when you're giving an opportunity for someone to represent in an event, right? When you're getting a travel grant, when you're getting some opportunity to present in a conference, everything has to be visible, everything has to be transparent, and there should be a perceived equal opportunity. So that's the whole idea. So if you can give equal opportunity for everyone, and not actually saying that, okay, this person can't do this person can't do this, not labeling them like that, but if you give equal opportunity, I'm sure only the interested people will definitely come through. So that's the third thing. I think, to quickly summarize, set up a clear vision, take care of your team personally, and also try to see what they're personally doing. And the third is provide equal opportunities for everyone. So those are the three things that I would definitely say. But yeah, but these things will definitely change when it comes to a startup or a business, which I'm quite learning now. I think I'll answer this question sometime later, as I actually got used to the startup and the learning environment. Yeah.
This is a question by Salih Yusuf.
Yeah,
there are many students who are really interested in volunteering with IEEE activities, but it is not affordable for them to pay $27 yearly. What do you think about this?
Okay, so this question is in two ways, right? So one, is it affordable? And second, are people seeing value in it? Okay, so I'll definitely answer both the questions. I think there are some layers around this question, right? The first question, $27 is not affordable. Personally, I don't think it is, guys, because we are paying thousands of rupees for an engineering admission. We are actually eating some outside food, or eating. The usual example that I always give for people is, let's say, how much does samosa cost in your college, right? How much does samosa cost in your college, like in the specific college you are from? I hope you guys have forgot because of the lockdown. let's say it's 10 rupees, okay? 9 rupees, okay, perfect. Thank you, Salif. So it's some 9 rupees or 10 rupees, right? So let's say you are purchasing samosa and eating every day, and depends on which college you're from, of course. So let's say over a period of time, for an year, it would definitely cost you, if you're going to college for 200 days, and if you're purchasing a samosa every day, it will cost you 2,000 rupees, right? I would definitely say that it's an investment that it's not something that's undervalued. Samosa is the most important thing. It's a love for a lot of people. So I definitely understand when you're trying to invest on something that you really like, and at the same time, here is an opportunity for you to give you literally all the things that you aspire for in your career, right? That can aspire you to grow, that can aspire you to learn things. So it's definitely important that you invest that specific amount on the membership. Again, you're talking about student membership, so professional membership is way more higher. So professional membership is $80. I'm sure a lot of young graduates also find it very difficult, but I always tell them this, right? So remember always in 10 years later then, okay? Let's say you are in 22 or whatever age you are in. After 10 years, you will be earning in thousands. You will be actually doing in good with your life. I mean, everyone, right? We are privileged, so we are in an engineering college, so we'll definitely we'll find some ways to grow. Yeah, and then you will actually earn a lot of money. But at the same time, these 10 years experience is you can't go and get back, right? By the time when you're in 30s, you would have different priorities in life. You can't go and attend events. You can't go around like easily. You can't actually engage with people because you will have different priorities. So what I always tell them is try to actually look forward, try to create those experiences for you. I think that's the answer to your first question. If you actually really look at it, it's not something that's not affordable, right? Especially for someone in an engineering environment. So that's the question, sub question one. The sub question two that I want to answer: do really people find value in it? Now this is the question that you really have to answer, right? I am paying $27, but what is that I am getting back? Okay, you're telling me if you want to go to an event, again you have to pay, which is some 5,000 rupees. If you're telling me to attend some webinar or workshop, again you have to pay, right? Now the interesting question is, you can't actually do the return of investment. So in business they call it as ROI. You can't do the return of investment just by looking at amount. Okay, so I actually did 2 years of membership and then I won this scholarship, so I got this much money back. No, it doesn't work like that, right? Most interesting thing about IEEE is you are building connections, you're building learning opportunities for you, and then you're being a part of the global platform. Now, those are the value add, right? Now, how will you know that value add is only by engaging? If I get a membership and if I don't actually engage, if I don't attend any events, if I don't actually, try volunteering, I won't actually find value in it, because for me it's just like, paying something and then getting something and then not using it. So it's more important that you start using it so that you really understand the membership benefits. I think that was a wonderful question, Sally. So my only hope is that a lot more people in India start using the membership so that they get valued, and then people will start actually looking up to them and then start going, right? I'm sure if you are a student branch officer, you'll definitely find it difficult, especially during membership development times, right? You actually couldn't find reasons to convince people. But the whole idea is this: try to leverage your membership, and then naturally you can inspire people to be a part of the community.
Looks like we have answered all the questions. Thank you, sir, for your prompt and detailed answers. Sir, is there anything you would like to mention before the final wrap up?
Yeah, I think first of all, as I told you in the beginning, congratulations to the MACE Student Branch for putting together a very interesting event. I remember organizing an SPAAC in 2015 when I was a student. This was a face-to-face event, but doing this in virtual with a good set of participants is always quite difficult. So how to increase the membership count in your college? So that's what I told you, right? Engage with IEEE. You start engaging with IEEE. If you are just looking for numbers increase, I can definitely help you. I can actually connect you with some speakers, and then they can actually deliver a talk. They can inspire people. But most important thing is try to activate your student branch. So that's the only way you can definitely, increase the membership count, because whenever people want to join something, they always look out for tangible things that's in front of their eyes. So you should have a student branch website. You should have a student branch active Facebook page. You should have a student branch Instagram account. Now, these are the things that will attract people. So that's the whole idea. Try to activate your student branch in a strong way, and then you will definitely see a lot more people joining you. So you don't need to go back to them; they will definitely join you. So yeah, in my final thought, congratulations to the MACE team, and thanks to all the participants for joining today. And I definitely look forward to visiting. E-meeting you sometime later soon. And the other thing that I also wanted to share was, at this point, I'm actually working on a startup and I'm actually quite free. I'm also happy to interact with a lot of people. So in case if you request some similar session related to membership, or you can also visit my website to find out the other topics that I'm speaking on, I'll be more than happy to come and engage with people, because one thing that I'm really finding especially good in this lockdown is I'm finding time. So, and also we don't need to travel much. So I'm really look forward to interacting with you all again. So that's the whole aspect. So thanks to Melvin, thanks to Eldo. I think Eldo was an amazing volunteer. He actually kept on giving me reminders. And thanks to all the volunteers with this specific thing. And I wish you all the best for the other webinars too. And I definitely look forward to attending some of the other webinars, including one from Arjun Pillai and the other one from Akash Nambia. Those are very, those are very known personalities to me. And Arjun is in fact one of the mentors for me. So yeah, so all the best. Thanks a lot for the opportunity. Stay safe. Have a good night.
Thank you, sir, for this gratifying webinar. I'm sure that each and every participant of today's webinar are benefited to a great extent from your admirable words. We had a remarkable time with you. Sir, I present to you a virtual memento hand-drawn by Vindhya.
Oh, that's really nice. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. Thanks, guys.
Now I would like to thank the organizers of the event for their hard work in arranging this webinar. Furthermore, I would like to thank the entire team of SPA for making this event successful. Thank you everyone for your time and patience. We are extremely privileged to have you here today. We'll be seeing you very shortly with another bewildering activity. Till then, stay tuned with SPAAM.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.